Hi, and welcome back. This is part 7 of the testimony of Jesus Christ changing my life, and it's been about a month, so I am back and see if we can wrap this up in 1 or 2 more videos. And now for more of the supernatural work of Christ and what it's meant for me over the last 8 or 9 years since that happened. When I left off with you at the last video, I spoke about my life where it left off last, and that was with the shame was racking up at about age 40-ish, and the religion I had accumulated at that time, the different Protestant and then Catholic religious background, it was not relieving my guilt, and finding out that the foundations I had did not seem to be substantiating anything that were value. And there was this question mark over my head about, not that I ever doubted God or doubted my belief at any point. I didn't do that, but I knew it wasn't adding up. And so at that point, I had gotten out of a relationship with someone for 18 months, and I just thought, this is it. I can't, how would I live if I'm 40 now and live to be 80, 40 years of this kind of life? I've got, 3 children and no grandchildren or anything, but I can't live this way. I'm a Christian woman. I believed I was, and I can't live this way. And I've got to find a way to, my parents had passed away. I lost those foundations. I lost my parents pretty young. My dad when I was in my very early 30s, and my mom when I was in my late 30s, mid to late 30s. So I had a lot of things I felt like foundations were gone. And at that point, broke off of this 18-month relationship and just said that is something is going to change. And that was a difficult break. I had to kind of keep pushing that person away and making a stand, and started thinking about how you get drawn into relationships, and started journaling. And I highly suggest that people journal, the Christians or people that are exploring Christianity, to journal. It's very valuable. I've been doing it now since 2011. Started journaling my feelings, the truth about my sin, the truth about alcohol and how much I was drinking and what were my triggers, the truth about men and how they were, not valuing me, and how, I was never thin enough. I was, it was just getting to be very obvious of when you date, we're just not selective enough, and maybe it's just better to not date at all. If I was starting to see my value, and not in a prideful way or, I'm just so great. It was like the Lord was looking down at me with value, and I was starting to see that and starting to say, why am I not allowing myself to be valued? It was in a really healthy way. And I mentioned 2 books that I had read in the last video. Video number 6, and I do ask you to click on the bell on this video so you can keep up with more videos I have to come. So journaling, I was reading the Bible. I was at work and there was a Bible study called I Am Second. I suggest you go to iamsecond.com, and I work with some physicians and nurses, and at unpaid lunchtime, it's not against the law, we had I Am Second, and I got to hear testimonies for the first time in my life. Not testimonies like I saw in high school of a man in a wheelchair that said, I was out swimming and drinking and I dived into a pool and now I'm paralyzed and now I'm mad at myself and don't do it. These are testimonies of people like baseball players that you would know, or writers of novels that are now born again, movie stars, and other people that you don't know. And I was watching these videos, they're short videos, and their testimony of their Christ grabbing them, and their life changed. And I've never seen such a thing before. I thought people were freaks that even would speak of such a thing, because the churches I grew up in, and every church I've ever stepped in, I've never really heard of such a thing. That was just unheard of in a church I've been in. And a lot of things were hitting me at once, and the Lord is so good. Journaling, I Am Second Bible study at work. Started picking up some books. One of the books I picked up to read was I Didn't Win It in a White Elephant gift exchange at work at Christmas, and I was really upset because I wanted it. It was called Crazy Love by Francis Chan, and I grabbed it, but then someone else exchanged it during the White Elephant gift exchange, and I didn't get it, and I was like kind of pouting under my being, and then I went out and bought it. The Lord is just amazing. So I went out and read that book, like I just ate it up. And I suggest Crazy Love by Francis Chan. And then I started reading more and more books, and I thought, something's going on. And I was reading about 3 or 4 books a month about Christ. And I met, about that time I met someone who was also healing, and he said he was a Jesus follower. And I thought, well, I've never met a man that said he was a Jesus follower before. And his Facebook said that, and my sister set me up with him. And so he started, we were dating, and it was kind of a mess. But through that, and through a coworker that I was asking questions about life, and she's not really in my life anymore, but she answered some questions, like I asked her, could God really forgive me for what I've done? Because I really asked that, and I really wanted to hear someone else say that I just wanted to hear somebody ask them that. Not a religious person, but someone that I knew that had studied the Bible a little bit. And she said, oh yes, he can forgive you for what you've done. And I believed it. And I think she knew a little bit about some of my struggles in my past and my sin. And so the Lord had lined up so many things for me to examine. And even though I tried to drink, things were getting really crazy. The Lord, I would order a drink somewhere and it would spill. I'd order a drink and it would be mixed strong. I would, it would taste terrible. God is supernatural. And pretty soon it got where it took a few months, and I had my last drink, and I didn't know it would be my last drink. But prior to that, I walked all my alcohol out into the garbage, and that was a powerful move. And it was a stand against Satan. It was a stand. It was a very valuable alcohol. I was in a wine club, and I had a wine fridge, and I had some really expensive kinds of liquors because I had friends and we did different kinds of things, fancy drinks. But it was really powerful to sacrifice that. It took a lot of strength to get rid of that. And it's just been so freeing to do those kind of things on and on as I walk as a Christian. So all these things were happening, and listening to Christian music and finding it so soothing and talking right to me. My new friend, he's now my husband, he took me to a church, he invited me to church like the first week he met me. And I went to his church, and I found it to be a little too free-willing, or there was a rock band, and it seemed like rock. It was kind of casual, more than I was used to. But I heard the pastor talk about stepping over the faith line. Stepping over the faith line. And the way he said it, it was starting to dwell into me. Excuse me. All these things were working. And so finally, reading my Bible every day, a devotional my new friend bought me, my boyfriend then, He bought me a Lloyd John Ogilvie devotional and a Life Application Study Bible. And I was reading the Word and journaling my sin, going back into my past and triggers and hurts and who hurt me. And it was all laid out for the Lord is what it was, but being real with it. And I had something happen. I had a moment, and some people do have a moment when the Lord does reach down and just, it's like a lightning bolt. And that was on April 13th, 2011. And the coworker that I told you about, that I asked her questions, deep questions about, could God ever forgive me? And I took a phone call that her dad had died at work. And when I put the phone down, something happened to me. And I've never been the same again. And I started weeping and crying, and it was unexplainable. I can't explain it to you. I can only really explain it to God and thank Him. But I was changed in a moment. It took me a long time to figure out what happened. I Googled, what does it mean to be born again, about 2 weeks later, because I didn't understand what was happening to me. I was weeping all the time, and I felt like everything was looking brand new. I was looking through new eyes and finding I was talking about Jesus all the time. I was in love with Jesus in a way. I was feeling powerful. It was just, and this was 2013, 2011, years ago. You can see how it brightens me. But He did that in a moment that everything came together. And I've never been the same yet. And I can't wait to be around people that talk about Jesus. And I love to be around opportunities where I can share Christ freely. And I do get persecuted when I try to hand out information about Jesus with my trick-or-treats, and somebody came back and yelled at me. And you get your people that really do not care for somebody like me. But He has saved me, and He testifies back to me that He has forgiven me. I know I told you in the previous videos that I was saying this kind of, the only prayer I could eke out of myself was I was praying for peace in my heart. And our prayers are so, sometimes we can only groan them out, but it's in John here, and it says, John chapter 14:27, He says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give you to you as the world gives you. Don't let your heart be troubled or fearful. Peace I leave you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives you." And that's what He gave me. My life has been full of all kinds of different kinds of turmoil. Of course, as a Christian, we're promised to have suffering. And there's more to come, obviously, as we look around our world. But He had taken all that burden off my back. He'd helped me forgive everyone, everything, things I can't put on this video that have happened to me or my family. And He's helped me to love people that I should never be able to love. He's working on other sins in my life, so you can't examine me and say that I'm not a sinner, that I don't have problems with temper or gluttony and eating too much chocolate. I struggle with some things that I struggle with. I struggle with judgments, and I am still in a work because He still has me here, and I'm not ready to meet Him because I'm not quite like Jesus, and I won't measure up because I don't dare think that I could. He's so perfect. But He did bear the cross for me, and I know He did. And He told me He told us through his word that he would, and if you believe it, he will bear your sin. And you know how valuable you are then, that you don't let yourself be given over to such sin and such people that will treat you so poorly, men or women, or situations, or destroy your body with sex and immoral sex and drugs and cigarettes and alcohol and food. I struggle with the food part, I do. I'm always asking him for help. And my husband loves him more or the same as I do. My friends love Jesus. We all sit together and sing. There are people out there that love Jesus. You would find new friends like I did. I found all kinds of friends, and we meet and we hug and love. There's a whole underworld that you don't realize that's out there. I had no idea. He shows you that when you're saved. And I want you to realize that's for you, that valuable life. It's the hidden life in Christ. I feel like I have covered my entire testimony for you. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that my children and grandchildren will view this. But I want others to be changed, to know that he does it. I would have never known that I wasn't saved. I thought I was saved. The truth of my salvation is showing my life now many years later, and how I cling to him and love him so much. And when things get really hard, I'm calm. Not that I'm calm right away, but he provides that peace that passes all understanding. And all I can do is I want to keep telling people about him, because there is a hell. And it's not made for man, it's made for the devil and his demons. He created us in his image. And why would you not examine what is offered to you in salvation through Jesus Christ? I ask you to do that today. Be blessed. Amen.